I found one of the easiest things to replace in this was the actual building itself. It was easy for me to replace my builders or me as a builder than it was for me to replace myself as the marketing guy, as the business building guy. And I think a part of that was that I actually fell in love with building the business over building the furniture. And I used to get asked all the time, what's your favorite thing to build in the shop, Mike? What's your favorite thing to build? And it's always, my answer was always the business. The business is my favorite thing to build. Sometimes you got to do the stuff that you don't want to do so you can continue doing the stuff that you do like to do, which is like running the back end system, running the business. Sometimes you got to run the business to continue building furniture, or like what you said, you have to continue building furniture to keep providing value for the people that you're teaching.
How many of them are actually going to YouTube and give information away and knowledge? I go, that's why I go, I'm young enough that I understand this, where the old timers don't understand the power of the internet. Now it's like, it's just fun to be on that side of it now.
Welcome to the Makers Legacy Podcast. My name is 𝗪𝗿𝗿, where I help all makers of all sorts grow and scale their companies to leave a legacy for their communities and the families, and what to do with their profit once they make it with the things that they do with their hands. Right today, we got Aaron Moore from 𝗧𝗏𝗏 down in California. I've been following this guy for quite a while now. I've been following him way before we even started talking, actually. I don't really know how long I've been following you, but it's been a lot longer it's been a lot longer than we've been talking, kind of thing. So it's been cool, man. You got a lot of good value on your Instagram. I like that.
Well, I appreciate it. I said I think I followed the Makers Legacy page before I even followed you. So it's like, I've been following that, seeing all the information that you put out there, and it's pretty amazing. Like I said, I'm glad to be here and finally getting this, chance to connect. It's been, like I said, it's probably been 6 months of us planning this out.
Yeah, I mean, we've both got a lot going on, and to be honest, I haven't even spoken about too much about the things that I've got going on in my life. And I mean, you've been posting a little bit about things that you've got going on, family wise, business wise. I'm paying attention. I'm rooting for you, man. So let's talk about some of those things. I
Let's
know
go.
you got the YouTube coming out, so you're doing a little bit longer form. I saw you posted an hour-long video yesterday or the other day.
Yep. Yeah, on Friday. Like I said, I think I'm at day 14 now on the YouTube stuff. I don't know why I didn't start doing this 10 years ago and been way ahead of the curve. But I focused on Instagram. That's kind of where it took off the easiest. And I go, okay, let's just do that. Figured out the algorithm changes, figured out how to, create value on social media. And now it's like I said, Instagram to me personally has been a little slow, kind of dead in a way in my page. I get a lot of new follows, a lot of comments, but I figured everyone's going towards the YouTube. I had my friend Barry from a page called Refinishing, like modern, or Mad City Modern is what his is. And like I said, he's been like a trainee of mine. We talk online as well, like you and I have over the years, asking questions. He bought a copy of my refinishing guide, and then I think around Christmas time, he told me, you got to get on YouTube. Like, you deserve like the success that we all have seen on YouTube. You deserve that. And seeing somebody on the outside say that to me, kind of basically January 1, I got back to the shop, whatever the date was, and we just started filming. We have all the information, the cameras, the microphones, the lighting. Why not? Let's just figure this out one day at a time. So we did.
Good, man. That's amazing. So it's actually always awesome to have somebody that's like a fan on that much of a level. They just want to see you succeed in everything that you're doing, man. That's really nice. This guy's reaching out and saying those things to you, man. So talk to me about like the value, because you hear online, everyone talks about provide value, provide value, provide value. And being in the custom furniture world, I always kind of challenged myself on what that looks like, right? Because I want to
Hmm.
provide value to my clients. This is when we were focusing on just building custom furniture. So in the form of providing value to my custom furniture clients, what is the value proposition that they're getting from following my content? Because I know a lot of people follow me specifically for entertainment, because we've always kind of done our fun things here in the
Yeah.
shop,
Yep.
but there was a lot of it was geared towards building custom furniture. Like a lot of my social media for the last 10 years has been based around providing value for my custom furniture clients, not so much just the woodworking side of things. So when you're saying that you're providing value, what are you focusing? Where are you focusing the value to, like, to go? Are you focusing it to give value to other refinishers? Are you focusing on providing value to the clients that are going to pay you for their pieces? Like which where, like I'm sure you're doing a little bit of both, but like where are you aiming for?
So like, I will just take a kind of a step back. Is I've been doing this now. It'll be 21 years in just about a month or so. And
Nice.
like I said, it's been a long time. I've been on my own here in my shop for 15 years. So it's like I've for a decade, I'd say 10, 11 years. I just came to work, did my thing, grew my business in the refinishing world. Like that's what we do. We don't build furniture here. We do high end restorations. And I think probably 2015, 2016 is where we started getting noticed. Like a modern, mid-century modern dealer found us, led to two, then to four, and then just created a network of refinishers. I still am not doing social media. You go back, I don't know, 2,000 posts that 3.5, 4 years ago, I'd go 6 months without posting because I didn't care about doing things on the internet because I was so busy here. And it's like it just we'll just go along that journey. Is that one day I just decided, kind of like this YouTube we were just discussing, is I just decided to start posting. I got tired of seeing these people making money online doing something. So the value that you're talking about, it was kind of I found it along the way. I just wanted to post just so I could start getting, viral videos, maybe start making money. That was kind of the initial thought. And, as I started posting, it was 3 months or 4 months of no traction, just dedication of, I'm going to get this page up and running. 2,000 followers I had probably over the 12 years before that. And it started just inching up 3,000, 6,000. Finally hit about 10,000 followers. And I was ecstatic. And I think about that time is when I had a video go viral. I think it hit 1.3 million views on a Hans Wagner swivel chair. Went super viral, and then went, I think, another 3 or 4 months dead. Very 1,000 views, 500 views per video, and like I said, it was just my dedication. But what really started having me put value into like the social media, the teaching, were the messages from people asking me, how do you refinish this? I really want to get into learning. And I'm like, I did this for over, was it 15 years before I even thought that this was something the outside world would think was cool. I love doing it. I've been doing it for, at that point I said 15 years. I love coming to work, restoring furniture. Never knew that the world would think it'd be so amazing. Kind of what hit in 2020 was, everyone was stayed home. They started doing projects. They started working with their hands, getting out of their, their white collar jobs. Now they're going into, handcrafts in their garage, like painting furniture, flipping furniture. And along the way, I'm answering questions, providing value, not knowing what I should do. Like it's more, I just was there. I was getting customers from it. So I still was not making money on the internet, but it evolved over time. So it's like, I'll let you jump in.
That's cool, man. It's nice to it's okay. A couple things you said there very interesting.
Yeah,
You started to post just to kind of take a crack at it because you were already busy. That's amazing, right? Like that's like the the OG way to do it kind of thing, right? And
yep,
I always look at social media as it's advanced word of mouth, right? People know you now because you're the refinishing guy, and they kind of
100%.
they push that, right? So when they have a question on refinishing, it's like I'm just gonna go ask Aaron. Like I'm gonna go ask you and figure out what's going on and how do I work around this piece. One of the things that I try to teach now to the guys that I'm working with is like don't focus so much on posting value, so much so that you don't post anything at all. Just post it. Who cares, right? And I think like at the end of the day, it might get you clients. It might make, you might be able to make money online. Like I never really tried to make money online. I just always try to find a way to get in front of the people that would pay me to do what I do best, which is
Yep.
building custom furniture.
And
But
that's
just
what this did. Exactly. That's exactly
yes,
what this did. It was just it was a review page. It was a place where that people could come see your pictures, your posts, your furniture. And at that point, people started, in the industry knew me, but then it started creating people, customers from across the country. I've had people ship stuff across the country to have us restore, New York, Connecticut, Salt Lake City. It's just it's an amazing place. I have one right now that is in talks that wants to send something from Pennsylvania. And I'm like, that's a lot of work it was a dining table. So logistically I go, I don't know if it's worth $1,500 in shipping fees for me to do, a $1,500 restoration. I go, I could do it, but it's just, you know, I don't know why you'd want to spend the money, but that's what the internet did. Is it brought people into into the orbit, and they became customers outside of my 10-mile radius, like the old time marketing things were. Yellow pages, Google for a long time would only do close up. Now with that, customers get to know me before they even get to meet me. It's a weird place to be when someone comes in and asks me about a vacation that I had just taken or something about my kids, and I go, how do they know about my family? I'm like, oh, I post it because
Yeah.
that's another thing, is I want to put on value of that. I'm a dad, I have 3 kids, I'm a husband. That's the important part to me. This is why I work, because it's because of the family. It's like, this is not all strictly business on my page. I
Well,
try to teach people about everything about my life.
well, they become a fan of you as a man, not so much just like his work is incredible. It's like he gets the
Yep.
now people are gonna get to follow you through your life story, man. Like you are the refinishing
100%.
guy. You're doing incredible work, but they also know about the things with your kids and like the vacations you're taking. Like,
Yep.
they become a fan of you, which is really interesting because that creates a deeper connection with the people that are willing to ship across the
Uh-huh.
country to work with you because they know you,
Well,
right?
and it's an easier sell too. That the people, all right, it's $1,500 for this piece. They may be getting other quotes. I've seen it. Like, other people are giving $1,000 quote, $800 quotes, but you have all this information online. They don't even have a website. I'm going to go with you because I know what I'm going to get for my money. And I go, that was the power of this Instagram, social media kind of push 3 years ago. And it's like I finally saw it too, being in the business. I talk to a lot of other business owners here, and every election season, every I said summer this time led into election season. It's slow. I've seen a dozen people on Instagram talking about they're closing their shop early this year. It was just too difficult. It was rough. And me being now, I've gone through 4 cycles like that. Every 4 years, you see ups and downs, ups and downs. That's where this 3.5 year, start that I did with Instagram finally paid off. Then I looked at my calendar and I'm like, I'm booked out through Christmas. I'm booked out through New Year's. I'm still working on pieces in that kind of booked out spot during, September, October of last year. So it's like we have, pieces coming in while I see everyone else struggling, failing to find new customers, closing down their stores. I go, it's just, I see the cycles, and I feel bad for the people that don't understand these cycles and they didn't plan accordingly. But this is also a benefit of posting and getting on the social media, because I have a network of clients that have kept me busy. So it's absolutely amazing what the social media has done.
Yeah, that waiting period, like the wait list, for you to
Mm-hmm.
start their project, I used to call that job security. Like that's my
Yeah,
job
100%.
security. How far backed up am I? Am I like I always so there was a time in my life where I was booked up 8 months and
Yeah.
the the sales fell off a cliff. And it was like, hey, that's a new problem. No one's willing to wait past the 8 months. So how do I shorten that? And I started growing a team to the point where we always wanted to have a 3 month. I didn't want anybody waiting past 90 days.
Yeah.
And it was nice because it allowed the team to scale, the business to grow, because we were doing like 4 or 5 times the amount of projects in now 30 to 90 days instead of 8 months when I was just doing it by myself. But you're right, when you talk about the power of social media, it's because they know, like, and trust you now. they
100%.
they trust you as the guy. They know about you, who you are. Like, even if you don't know them personally, they're willing to go the extra mile to have it done by Moore's Refinishing, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's such a
We branded we branded as Moore's Refinishing all over the internet, and it's like, it's pretty. It's I said that I remember I was just talking to my wife about it over the holidays. I go, remember we were sitting on the couch right here, and I said, tomorrow I'm just going to start posting. I'm not good at it. I'm not a very techie person. I'm a hands-on worker. This is what I do for a living. I don't play with the cameras. I don't play with my phone in that way. But I go, I'm going to figure it out. And it's like, okay, now we've grown Instagram to 80,000 plus followers. Facebook just had a viral video. I gained 3,500 followers overnight last week. And it's like I think I made $300 on the post. I go, sweet, I need more of these viral videos. They give me money and they give me potential customers. So I go, it's just getting your work in like in view of more people, more eyes on it is going to create more success for you.
100%, man. So,
Yeah.
okay, so talk to me about the people that are following you. So, do you find that most of them are interested in working with you or learning from you? Like, where are you finding yourself landing in their eyes?
I have them all, honestly. Like, I'll get the hobbyist doing it out of the garage, like even a small time flipper that's like just doing it for themselves. They'll flip a few pieces a year. And then I got other dealers or stores or refinishers that message me all the time. Hey, I got a question with this. I have a concern that this is happening, and like, I do what I can to help out, like just to provide value to these people.
Right, 100%. Yeah, so you're finding more people that are like interested in your craft
In more the
as the craft.
craft,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
But that's good because that's what you're coaching on the back end, man. You've got the guides, you've got the book, you've got the school
Yep.
community, the YouTube, the long form, right? Like I think that's an incredible thing to start to continue building out because maybe not everyone's looking to have a piece professionally refinished to this to the level that you're providing, but maybe
Yeah.
they're interested in buying from you, purchasing from you, working with you on actually just like refining the craft of it.
And I was talking to that Barry, my friend Barry, the other day about this. We had a nice 2 hour conversation that would have made a great podcast for people. But we were on the phone just chatting. While I was working, and he goes like even on his YouTube channel, 100,000 plus subscribers, and he goes most people are watching for entertainment. There's very few out of these people that are just actively wanting to do it. And I've noticed that I'll do cold messages, cold outreach to my followers on Instagram, and a lot of them were just responding, I don't need to purchase your book. I don't need any of these things. I just like watching you restore furniture. It's just entertaining. It's relaxing. I go, okay. Like I said, it's like I've talked to all of them. Like I have probably 25% of kind of each group. I go, it's like they all, it makes one whole beautiful family of like followers. But I go, they all have their own different, you know, reasons. Like some just watch it to relax and fall asleep, kind of like more what we're doing on YouTube. It's more of just we're not doing very technical things. We're just showing you more entertainment, kind of shop recaps. Like what got that started was just for years I would be saying it, or other people would say that too. Hey, you need to get on a TV show. You need your own TV show. I'm like, well, let's get HGTV involved. Let's talk to people. And I've had some connections through that, and like they've reached out, but I never heard anything. I go, after this YouTube conversation I had with Barry, I go, you know what? I'm just going to make my own TV show.
Yeah.
We're just going to start figuring it out, put it on YouTube, and just continue posting, try to post every day or every other day, depending on, the energy we have here. Make just a recap video. I mean, said for a decade, I never thought this was possible. I was like, I have too much going on. I don't know how I'm going to film videos. And then all of a sudden I go, you know what? If I film 3 to 5 minutes per hour, that'll give me a 20-minute video at the end of the day. I go, that's not hard. 3 minutes out of an hour. I go, and I don't even have to stop what I'm doing. Just Ivan, my right hand guy, will grab the camera or I'll put it on the tripod, which is I've been doing, the last few days, and we'll just set it up and I'll just explain what I'm doing, showing you like a quick tip, and then moving on to the next project. So it's like just a little highlight reel of the day. And it's kind of funny playing it back. And it's like every night I'm going through editing these videos to upload, and it's like, oh yeah, I did that today, and it's just kind of a funny thing. Just it's like a daily recap. It's really what it's going for on that, and it'll mold and it'll change as I figure out new tricks, getting different cameras or lighting, and intros or outros. We'll figure that out maybe by episode 30. We'll start figuring out as we kind of move along. We'll learn.
That's the way to do it, man. You're just taking the action. Like you're like, I don't even know how this is all gonna work yet. I'm just gonna make it happen. I'm just gonna start. And I've been doing the exact same thing, right? Like I
Yeah.
started doing this. I've had a little bit of hiccups over the last couple months. I'll be honest. My editor's probably gonna listen to that and start laughing. But I've we got just a lot going on, and it's like, well, I'm trying to make it perfect, but got to remember that just doing it is going to help create that perfect plan, the one that's
Yeah.
actually going to work. And we just I get caught up in it. I know a lot of people get caught up in trying to make it perfect, and then you just
And I
you
was
don't
me
do anything.
for a long time. And
Yeah.
what changed me was I was on a bachelor party for my best buddy. We were out in Arizona, just having a good time, walking down the street, and a kid, I call him a kid, he was, in his 20s. I believe his name was Ethan, if I remember right. He, saw me walking down the street, stopped me to introduce himself and thank me for, like teaching him all these, tricks and techniques. And in my opinion, I go, I'm not even teaching you anything yet. I'm not even like, but the book wasn't done yet. There was no community or any of those things, so that happened. And then like we were at the baseball game, and at that point I still had about 80,000 followers. Baseball game, this field had 40,000 plus people, and I go, right here on this phone there's double the amount of people. And I go, I was trying to imagine myself sitting on the mound teaching about refinishing. I go, this is just unreal. Let's like came back from that bachelor party and realized, okay, I just need to start doing what I'm doing now. It's obviously enough. So I started the community. I started doing more of the teaching side of it, more than just entertainment on Instagram. And I go, all it did is, like I said, I'm the kind of guy, it takes one little thing to push me over the edge to get motivated. That was just a guy randomly seeing me in public and recognizing me. I go, all right, if I'm already getting that with what I'm putting now, let's just do more of that. There's no need to perfect it. He said the knowledge wasn't even being like given at that point. I was just doing more entertainment, teaching, refinishing before and afters, like little techniques. I didn't feel like I had given you like the meat and potatoes of the process. And now
Yeah.
it's like same thing with Instagram or YouTube. I don't feel like I'm even giving you everything, which that will be in my school community eventually. There'll be a literal like a technical video for every chapter of the book, and we're going to go into great detail. You may have a 30-minute video for one chapter. Like that's what I'm really want to get technical, because the people who want to get technical are going to go down that route and they want to learn, and they need to have a place to go. And that's like I said, that's why we've talked about it, doing the private community through school. Like that's the goal for that community, is the technical people who want to learn.
Like more than what you're learning, what you're teaching on Instagram. Because I started following you because we started doing refinishing here in the shop, and I was like, I want to learn. Dude, my Instagram is loaded. All it is, I go on Instagram, I scroll forever, and it's like I'm just learning. I'm learning, like constantly learning. I'm learning about real estate, learning about
100%.
refinishing, woodworking. My team and I, we had a group chat, and it was just tips and tricks we would send each other. We would all just continuously be learning all the time with just sending each other cool videos from you. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you had a
I was just
couple
gonna
in
say
there.
that it better have been videos from me passing around. Like that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
there definitely was, man. Because like refinishing is a different art
It
than
is.
building something brand new, and I had to learn that the
And
hard way.
and finishing. Like there's a difference between finishing and then refinishing,
Hundred
which
percent.
we have a finishing project right now, and it's just a different animal. Like I said, it's 50 pieces of a custom desk that was built, like a built-in. And I go, it's just if you saw my recent video, I think from last night, I go, it's a very slow. It took 5 hours to prep everything, check them, sand them. Today I'm at about 3 hours of just staining them. I'm like, that's not a very fun and exciting day, but I go,
Yeah,
it's still, we treat the job like every other piece of furniture. And it's just, put it same thing, we're always learning. I put headphones on like this. I listen to podcasts about marketing, business, even mindset. We do, we'll throw a political thing here and there just to see what the heck's going on in the world. And you're just like, always be learning. I don't know, it's probably been 3 years ish since I've probably listened to music in the headphones. Like for a decade, all I did was listen to music while I work, either through the radio, through my headphones, whatever the case. And I go, what a bunch of wasted time. Like I'm
yeah,
here 8 hours a day, and like I should be learning or motivating myself in other ways, doing it, with my headphones on. Just I got into stocks and doing crypto trading. I learned, okay, that's all I listened to for about 6 or 8 months. I learned about it, so I really did well in it. So I was like, okay, I'm not just here gambling. I understand these things now, because I've for 8 hours a day for 6 months, all I did was listen to was stocks and crypto. I go, all right, now I understand this side of the thing. Now it's marketing, sales, leads, like a lot of like Alex Hormozy stuff. Like I listen to a lot of those podcasts and audiobooks. So that way I'm always here trying new things. Like it's if you're not learning, like I said, it just I don't know what you're doing. Like you start
hundred
just
percent.
listening and bettering yourself in any way.
Well, the crazy part is, man, is we don't know what we don't know, and
Yeah.
I always found that it was very interesting to like. be introduced to an entire other level of whatever it is that we're doing, right? If it's a whole new level of business, if it's a whole new level of marketing, it's like I thought I had this figured out. And then it's like you turn the page and it's like a whole new world of marketing world, especially with the how fast the technology moves now, right? Like
Oh, 100%.
I'm building out two CRMs right now, like back end automation systems for two other wood shops right now.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff, dude. When I
Yeah.
automated this shop, I fell in love with the building of the business on the digital side, where I was in Arizona selling custom furniture for my shop here in Windsor, Ontario. Like I was
That's
just
awesome.
selling the stuff, and then it was going through our workflows. It's automated with team members. It wasn't robots. It was an automated workflow that would be picked up by our employees, and our employees would take care of our clients because we have it all documented. And it was the most rewarding thing ever to see in our reviews from when we started collecting the reviews from our
Yeah.
work. It wasn't just like, oh, Mike DeFazio did an incredible job on this project. It was like Mike, Tristan, Alex, the team over there was amazing to work with. And it was interesting because for the longest time people thought that it was just me in this shop.
Yeah.
And as I started to automate and delegate, automate the workflow, but delegate the tasks to my employees, they started getting recognition for the things that they were doing.
Yeah,
And dude,
and it
I
goes
felt
such a long way. That's a lot of why I started my own. Is the guy that trained me, and I moved over here at 23 years old. I bought my own business. Like that's not a real common thing. So 23 years old, I jump into this. But a lot of it was just the lack of recognition with the other guy. Like I was operating his business. I basically did everything except for bookkeeping. He dealt with the money. I dealt with a lot of the clients. I dealt with shop. I was basically the shop manager, running the whole thing. But it was always that, oh, I did a good job. Like there was never a we. Like the boss never passed down that motivation or praise from the customer to it's not just me. It's me and my team.
yeah.
Whereas like I've always tried to do that. It's you see it on my post and on social media. It's we. It's like, but we have a small shop. It's me and my right hand guy Ivan. He's starting to make appearances on the YouTube channel. Like we want to get him involved and kind of create brand recognition for him as well because he's been doing it just as long as I have. And at the age he's a few years younger than me, but I think he's been doing this for about 17 years. So it's like he knows this probably 90% of what I know, and I bet that last 10% he could figure out just from watching what I've done. Then
Not
he,
even.
he could go through the book, watch
Yeah.
the SOPs of the business, and put those pieces together. Like he could figure it out if something were to happen to me or any of those kind of things. He could definitely operate this business solo. Or he'd need to find more help too. But yeah, it's just uh, I'm trying to get him involved. But what I was going with that is I've probably trained about a dozen people over the years. Bring them in. Woodworkers do not make good refinishers, and vice versa. It's like
Yeah.
because I've been noticing, even I was listening to another podcast the other day, that musicians make good refinishers. Ivan was a musician up until he still is, but played in bands. I was a musician growing up, like in high school and a little bit beyond that. Like I don't know if it's just something with music that you have the patience to get into this, but refinishing is very tedious. It's slow. You really have to have a love for it to want to do it. And I said I've had some of the craziest and best woodworkers work for me, and it not be for them. They're just like, I'll work here for a little bit, but I'm still looking for millwork kind of shops or things like that because woodworking is its own animal. Like building things from the ground up. I like today, like I'm just staining the same piece, basically over and over again, some white oak panels. I go, it's a slow and tedious day, and I go, you really have to have a love for that to get through 50 panels. So it's like I said, like that's a big thing too.
I know. So I can speak. So I never really considered myself a woodworker. Like, yeah, I have a full blown wood shop here. But like I always kind of considered myself more of an artist. And to be honest, dude, I
Yep.
played music my whole life.
Yep.
We toured the states, a few albums. Like we
Awesome.
had a lot of fun in the
Awesome.
music, doing the music stuff. But dude, the like I started this entire business with the sole purpose of never having to build cabinets because I can't build boxes all day.
Yeah.
What you're
Yep.
talking about right now, 50 panels, I just rather put my head through the wall. Like I want to build weird stuff, right? I want to have fun and kind of like and get really creative and have that
Yeah.
creative input in some of the work that I do because it's hard for me to do the tedious stuff. So like it's what lights you up, right? Like I could never do what you do. Could you do what I do? I don't know, maybe. But you know, some of the stuff I do is odd on purpose because I like things to be intense. Like
Well,
that's
but it's your experience. Could I figure it out? Yeah, probably. But how long is it going to take me? Like
right.
we have basic tools here. We have the chop saw, table saw, routers. But a
Yeah,
lot of refinishing is hands-on work. Like you're not doing anything with planers or joiners or any of like the crazy tools required for building. But I go, could I figure it out? Yeah, but you're going to get it done better than me and quicker. But I go, it might take me 4 times to get it right. But I said, I'm kind of a jack of all trades. Like I know how to remodel my home, tear it down to the studs, do that. But I go, I hire out the things I don't want to do. I pay a drywaller, I pay a plumber to run water lines. I go, but I'll hook up the sinks. I redid the electrical in my entire house. Like I know how to do electrical because that's fun. There's a lot of brain thinking there, a lot of planning. I don't want to be digging holes or digging trenches anymore. I've done that recently over the last couple of years, like with concrete. I go, I don't want to do that anymore. Hire it out. So like
right.
it's kind of like same thing happens here is I hire an employee because I don't want to do stripping anymore. Like I'm more valuable in the spray booth or doing repairs or touch ups. Let's find somebody to do just the stripping and major sanding. And that's what I said. That's what I would always hire for. I would hire just somebody to do like the grunt work. Like that's what I did starting. I swept up the shop every day. I did stripping and cleaning the furniture, and that's really all I did for 3 or 4 months, just day in and day out. And I was learning and watching what everyone else was doing. And 3 years later, I was running the business for the guy. So it just being in the right place. If you want to get into that, it's just being there and learning. You're not going to run the shop day one. Like there's so much stuff you need to learn before actually operating a business yourself.
Well, 100%, man. And like that might take forever. And on that note, that might not be what that person wants either, right? I had one of my main guys here. I was prepping him to eventually become a partner with me or just to buy the business from me, kind of like what your old boss did with you.
Yeah.
And I kept pushing, 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 and he was like, "I just want to build. Stop pushing me." And
Yep.
I eventually pushed over the edge. He's still here though. He might be listening to this conversation right now. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about because it's very interesting is sometimes in my world anyways, building custom furniture, I found one of the easiest things to replace in this was the actual building itself. It was easy for me to replace my builders or me as a builder than it was for me to replace myself as the marketing guy, as the business building guy. And I think a part of that was that I actually fell in love with building the business over building the furniture. And I used to get asked all the time, "What's your favorite thing to build in the shop, Mike? What's your favorite thing to build?"
Yeah.
And it's always my answer was always the business. The business is my favorite thing to build.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because as the shop was growing, I had to start replacing the things that got me started in the first place, which was the building. Like it's almost like I love building furniture. I'm gonna build a business out of it to eventually stop building furniture.
Right. Right.
It's
I mean, yeah, you go with like 𝗲𝗏𝗿 built gyms to, slept on the gym floor, built all these up to sell it to then now he doesn't even really do anything with gyms anymore.
right.
It's and he talks about that all the time. And
Well,
and that's kind of what it was with I, I I don't know why. Like I said, I think I was motivated by the fans, on the social media pages to get into that. It was more okay. Let's write a refinishing guide. Wrote a book. We could get into that part later, but yeah, it was more getting into what are they asking of me? Like, let's provide that value. A lot of these podcasters talk about, making money is not that difficult. You just got to provide more help to, to more people. And I realized, like, just I said, I re-listened to another podcast that I listened to a year ago, learned something completely different because I'm at a different point in my life and my business. And then I go, I don't want to train new employees and then maybe they disappear or go away or, quit. And refinishing wise, I go, I can only do one piece at a time. I only have two hands. I can only work on one piece. So if you put that into play of how many people can I help? Well, I'm refinishing one piece at a time, or I could get on the internet and teach 200 refinishers how to do it at, at $10 a month or something like that in like in the private community. And well, then now I could start subsidizing the business operations with, online training, because I really find love for teaching these people that, techniques, having messages of them saying, oh man, this was the best finish that I've ever had. And we're going to continue on with, with these skills, and we're just going to, go up from here. And I go, that's motivating to me. It's just one guy that I've helped, but I go, now it's like, let's see if I can help 1,000. I see refinishing pages on Facebook that have 500,000, followers. I go, I only need, a percent of that, 1% of like that, to make, for one, to make a good living. If I can make more money doing the training, I've really found the passion for that to teach people. But I go, I'm not making enough money from it to do it full time. So I'm still like in limbo. I'm always going to be refinishing furniture. I need furniture here for videos and content and to teach on. But I go, my motivation now is to get into the helping people stage. I don't know, maybe it's because I've been doing this over 20 years. They say over time you kind of change, your goals in life, your outlook. And I go, it's like, I still love what I do, but I'm starting to like this other side a little bit better. Like getting to talk to people like you daily. I have another conversation with my friend Gary from Stripwell. We're gonna start working together again on some other projects. Maybe that I'll be on his podcast on a routine basis to, to talk to all the people. We're kind of discussing a few things, and I'm really excited for that future of just giving back to like the people that need this information. Like I said, I didn't know for so long that this stuff was desirable. I just came to work and did what I, did best. But now I said the people motivating me with comments and messages and asking for help is just, it's motivating me to give them more. Like that's the next goal, around, level 2.
Level two, I love it, man. I've personally loved having team members. I love having people that I was working with every day, just watching people growing as a team, man.
Yep.
And like you said, I felt like the guys that I coach now, it's like it's the most fulfilling part of my week. Like I
Yep.
get to deep dive on your problems, help you solve your problems, and get you through the things, like helping easy stuff, man. Like sometimes the stuff that sucks, like bookkeeping and whatever, like I gotta help these guys through that, because some of these guys are so heavy on like tactical skills of building and or refinishing furniture. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes you got to do the stuff that you don't want to do so you can continue doing the stuff that you do like to do, which is
Yeah.
like running the back end system, running the business. Sometimes you got to run the business to continue building furniture, or like what you said,
Yeah.
you have to continue building furniture to keep providing value for the people that you're teaching.
Yeah.
So you still
Yeah.
need the furniture coming in.
Yep. And it could always change too. I could buy my own furniture, flip it myself, use those those pieces as art to promote the refinishing, to guide and teach on. But then I throw it up on Cherish or Facebook Marketplace or whatever and sell the piece. And even that, making the content, hopefully at a soon a point coming up of monetization on YouTube, things like that. So the quicker that happens, I go, it's like if I can monetize and subsidize this business in person with 10 grand a month in book sales, monetization, community group, I go, that would change the outlook of this business, and give it a new, basically around, like I said, level 2 life, going from refinishing furniture for customers to providing value to 1,000 refinishers out there that want the help. I mean, I get the messages all the time from people who order a copy of the book, and chapter 1, they learned 5 new things in chapter 1 or chapter 2. They're like, that was worth $100 right there. Like, I don't know why I've never thought about that. Like, but I go, it's like, I tell people my way of refinishing is not the only way out there. I go, you could refinish furniture 10 different ways. This is the way that I come to work every day. I do the same process on every single piece of furniture. And if I don't, then that's when we have issues. So I try not to like do touch ups or repairs. Like, hey, we fully restore it. I want to get it back down to raw wood, start from scratch, and then follow these steps. And you're not going to have chemical reaction issues, drying issues, blushing issues. I come to work, I have no problems. I get a lot of messages. Post those issues you have, like with stuff in the shop. And I go, I really don't have any. Like, we don't do drips. We don't run anymore. I go, after 2 decades, I better not be dripping paint. Like it should. That's why you're paying me to restore your furniture, so you don't have runs and drips. And I go, if it does happen one of these days, it happens about once a year. We'll have something. I'll spray a little heavy. Oops. Then I could show on social media or now YouTube, how do you fix that problem?
Right.
So we've just I, there's things that happen once or twice a year that you're like, oh man, I wish that was a big screw up. Let's figure out how we could correct it. And I go, now with the social media, with YouTube, I'm hoping to catch these oopses on, in live basically, and post it on so I could teach people how to get out of the hole. That's the lot with refinishing is, okay, what steps do you do? Okay, if you screw up, how do you take one step back to correct it? Like, that's the thing, is like, so many refinishers online are using different types of finish or chemicals. You're like, I've never used that in 20 years. Why don't you just switch to what I'm using? And I have a perfect job every single time. Like, there's no reactions. I talk about temperatures. Like I was saying today, I can't be spraying lacquer at 50 degrees. I have to wait
Yeah.
till the shop warms up and do that kind of stuff. I can teach those things, and it's just knowledge that most people don't have. I didn't know what was in my head was that valuable till, I said, 3 years ago.
That's interesting, man. So you mentioned a couple other things that I wanted to touch on
Yeah.
because I think one of the things personally with Maker's Legacy is what happens after that. We only have our two hands, right? Like, we only can produce so much with our time and with our two hands. For me, getting into real estate with the profits from the shop has changed my life forever. My life will never be the same again.
Yeah.
You're talking about crypto. I'm also in crypto and all that too. There's the other half, right? There's like making the money, and then they say keeping the money, and then investing the money like afterwards. And I know this might not be for everybody at this point, because a lot of the guys that I coach and that are listening to this are starting. They're just starting where they're at.
Yeah.
But getting to a point where you're able to make the money and then invest the money so that the money continues to pay for you or pay you every day, every year,
Yep.
every month, whatever it may be, is where the legacy starts to be made. I'm not talking about making a legacy piece of furniture. It's like the legacy that I'm talking about, like leaving from my family and my community, is way beyond the pieces that leave this shop. It's like what I did in my neighborhood here or what I can do for my families down the road. Like,
Yeah.
so talking about that, you said you're investing in crypto. Like, how do you take what you're doing from your shop and then investing that into something that's going to benefit you in the future? Like talk to me about, as much as you want to talk about this,
Yeah.
go into kind of depth, like how you're managing the transition from not just continuously reinvesting in the business and maybe doing something outside of the business a little bit.
Well, I think, like, talking to the people you're coaching, all of that are just starting. I remember early on that I couldn't save any money. There was no
Yep.
way. I was Now I've learned, find a way. $20 a project, $30 a project, 100, whatever it is, just put it away, because same thing. Okay, we're out of the election season. 4 years from now, it will be another cycle and it'll be slow. So, like, if for anything, start putting the money away to protect your business. Like, so I'll take we'll go back, rewind, 15 years when I opened the shop. I had a truck repossessed. I said, you know what? I can't afford this anymore. I was working two jobs. I was working my shop and the other shop at the same time. I finally left the other shop and realized, oh crap, I kind of needed that money. I lost a truck because I go, this business is more valuable to me than the vehicle. I could buy another truck someday. It's not even a big deal. But I go, but I wished in that first year, when every penny here was extra, was profit, I should have been saving that money and putting it into myself. For one, put the money and invest it into yourself,
100%.
gain the knowledge, gain all of that. So that way, then at a certain point when you're making an excess amount of money, then you can start doing stuff, investing in real property, buying a house. Like with my stocks in the crypto, like, during the lean times, I'd put $50 in a week. Don't $20 in. I'm like, okay, any red day, I would be putting money in for because when what do they say, when the market's red, that's when you buy. Like a lot of the Warren Buffett's and all of those kind of people, that's what they've always talked, buy on the red day. So I'm like, well, let's see, stock wise, let's see what's going red today, and then it'll bounce back 15-20% the next day. You're like, oh, perfect, see where I just made 15% on that, even $100, who cares?
Hey,
So it's like
100 bucks.
that part of it is. And like I'm lucky because I've always learned how to work with my hands, build things. If I didn't have money, I had to figure out how to do it, myself. Like, okay, how do I do it? Thanks to YouTube, I've learned a lot of things in just in life on, okay, how do I take this one thing apart? Okay, I got a check engine light on my vehicle. I do that. I want to basically have people start investing in themselves as step one, because if you're saving $20 a week, like that's fine. But then at a certain point, buy a course, it depends what you're trying to do with your go to the next level with your business. But find a coach, find somebody like you or I that can guide you. I'm not in the coaching world yet. We're going to be getting there. Like, but I go, it's just start leveling up there. And then at that point, like I said, my wife and I, we've been working hard. So, we've been together now 13 years. All we did was work. Before we had kids, we were at her office. She was doing things. I was at the shop, 10 hours, 12 hours a day. We'd go home, sleep, do it all over again. Like, and I'd go to the shop on Saturdays. And this was before we really like got like success, I guess you could say, on like the social media or the popularity. This was right around that transfer, like 2017. We started getting in with a lot more dealers. Well, then at that point, I started making more money. We were putting all that money back into our first home. We had a townhouse. We ended up taking that property. I restored that whole home, tore it down, built it right back up. New cabinets, new all new millwork, floors, paint, all just like a nice remodel. And in 2.5 years, we were able to make $275,000 in equity. We're like, bam, that's awesome. Bought our house where we're at now at a really cheap price right before all the market started to jump in 2020. And you're just like, okay, now we have $700,000 in equity. What do we do with that at one point? Like I said, now it's like we may not have a ton of cash sitting around, but I got all of the extra money we have is in our home. I've already invested in myself, my business. Now it's investing into property. And I said, maybe at some point, buying a property in another state, buying land, maybe building a shop one day. I said, that's all the kind of things that, it just starts with investing in yourself. And,
Yeah,
and, and it can start today.
100%. You can start today, and like honestly, 20 bucks a day or 20 bucks a week isn't going to get you very far, man. And like
It's a meal. Today it's
it,
it's a meal. If you go to like any type of fast food place,
oh yeah,
cut out one meal. Bring something from home. Skip a meal. Like it's not a bad thing to skip a meal every once in a while, but
especially if
skip
it's
your
fast
breakfast.
food.
Oh,
Yeah,
especially fast food. We can go
yeah,
down that rabbit hole with that, but it's just, take that $20 that you're going to spend at McDonald's and put it in Robinhood, put it in Coinbase. Yes, like with crypto, you want to own your keys, but just get started. You'll learn that as you go. You'll start feeling the bug, and you're like, okay, now I need to go on YouTube and figure out, what do I go from here? Like how do I get the keys for my crypto, or how do I actually
yeah.
buy the stocks and not just a portion on Robinhood? Like that'll
I agree.
all you'll learn as you go. Same thing. Day one, I wanted to start posting on YouTube. 2025, I said, let's just do it. Like, okay, I'm going to invest in that now, like my time and money. Like I have to pay my employee to I'm blessed because he likes filming. I love, being filmed with this stuff. And I go, it's just, I'm the one still editing though. So I go, at a certain point, I'll hire someone out to edit, to do the things I don't want to do anymore. And like I said, we'll mold and shape as we go, with that as well.
One of the things, so like that's also a form of investment. Like you're investing in the proper videos, you're investing in the content, you're investing in yourself with learning the knowledge, learning the things that you need to do.
Yep.
Yeah, it is very important to do that, because if you want to save 20 bucks, you'll eventually get there. Sure, it might take you forever, but if you want to start saving 2,000 or investing 2,000 or even 200 bucks a week, you have to become better at making the money first, at the
Yep.
skills that you're doing with your hands. At a certain point,
Cool.
your hands can't produce where you want to go. There's going to be a point where you're going to hit like a ceiling, and you're just going to get tired. You're just going to, you know
You
what I
do.
mean? Like how, like you and I have both put in probably tens of thousands of hours working on our hands. It's like at a certain point, I want to be making money over there,
Yep.
making money over here, and then still making money with my hands. And then it just, you multiply the streams. But I think, with social
Yep.
media, man, I think too many people talk about having too many streams too soon. I think too many people lean in on that. Like, I need to have all these streams of income. The average millionaire has 7 streams of income. It's like, yeah, but they also spent all this time building a really strong foundation with one.
Yeah,
They
and
had to start
how
with one.
old? Like, and how
Yeah.
old is this person? Like, and how old are you? Like, that's the bigger thing. I go, okay. I told myself when I opened this shop by 40, I want to be like changing the outlook of the business, either stepping back, kind of giving it to somebody. Well, those things haven't really worked out. I have a right hand guy, but I go not enough to just walk away from the business because a lot of this is artistry, and
Yeah.
they want to have me work on the piece, not my team of workers, and it's just me that I'm just the guy picking up a check. I've never wanted to be like that. I've thought about it. I've had 5 employees working in here at one time, and it's like it's just all you're doing is problem solving all day and
Yeah.
answering questions, putting out fires. And I hated it. I really disliked it. I like having people do things here. 1 or 2 employees. It's nice, but I go. It's more of a now, like, let's go down this different hole where we could help more people and get into to that side of it. Because I go, for one, I want to step away from the chemicals and all of that. For as many years as I've been doing it, we wear masks, we wear gloves, like we do all the things we're supposed to. But I go, it's still exposure. So I go, if I could lower my exposure now that I'm a dad, I have 3 kids. I go, I don't want to be, take my life short because I've been doing this for now, 40 years. The guy that I bought this business from, he came by the shop a few months ago. He's 86 or something like that now. Never sprayed with a mask, never had any issues. The guy doesn't have cancer. I go, some people are just blessed that way, but I want to lower that exposure of the chemicals. And how do I do that? Well, I can't just back away from what I know how to do business, like shop wise, because I go, I need to still feed my family, put a roof over their heads. I go, do fun things. I go, how do we do that? And that's, like I said, that's what's gone into the online teaching, and it's that eventually the coaching side of it is that I could use my brain to make money versus just my hands.
It's
Kind
not
of
even
do a
just your
mixture of
brain.
both.
It's like, it's interesting because the stuff that you're doing, it's like you built it. You have the guide now. The
Yeah.
guide is
Yep.
here. Here's the guide. If you want to learn, it's been done. That thing can pay you again for the rest of your life, essentially. And that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Like, that is part of your legacy, man. And I think that's like that's something to be proud of, in my opinion, because it's built, it's finished, the job is done.
Well, I'll give you a legacy story. Like this is how it was created. Is 2.5 years ago. You follow me on the internet. I had a minor heart attack. Sitting right here in the office, right in the shop. I'm sitting here like not knowing what's going on. It goes away. Comes back like 8 hours later. I worked all day. I was like, man, that was weird. This is how men die, in their 30s with heart attacks. Is that they don't know what it really is because it's
Right.
not super painful. I worked all day and then it happened again at night, and I go, okay, I gotta go to the ER. Like I had a best friend that passed away from this, like 30 years old, had a widowmaker. I think this is a heart attack. I don't know what's going on. I'm not in pain. So I go, after I got healed, all the cured, my friend Anastasia, which, I talk about her a lot on my social media, she came to me and she was one of the people who thought, oh, maybe if I could come and work for you for a day, I'll learn all the information I need. When she came in, we started a friendship. Like, she was a photographer, got me kind of motivated. She was like, I would say, my first coach in that sense of I was teaching her how to refinish. She was teaching me how to like market and do what she knew how to do on her side, like her skills. And we were talking, and she goes, "I know you're talking about maybe making a video course, but like, what if we what you got to write a script." All right, started doing that, chapter 1, chapter 2, or whatever I had done, and realized we go, okay, this is a book. Like, how do we now we have a book in our hands. Let's just build that. 18 months later, like we thought it would be quicker to finish a book, but now it's like I had the thought at that point. I go, what would have happened if I died from that heart attack? What would have happened if that I croaked over right here on the floor and died? Where would have this knowledge of 20 years? Where would it have gone? I need to put it down on paper. I go, that was one of the first things. I go, now as it was being molded and shaped as I kind of I wrote 3 or 4 different drafts with the layout. I go, I don't know which way I want to go with this. Finally, I'm like, you know what? It's done. Now I have my 20 years of knowledge. I got way more knowledge than what's in that book, but that's the good start to get you going in your refinishing process. But I go, now I've created something that will last a lifetime, a legacy, as you were saying. And they go, now what's next? Okay, now the book's done. Let's get into doing the book course. Like we have the book course in school because I want to, like I said, I just want to give this information away to people because I go, it's just more what happens to me or what happens to the knowledge if something were to happen to me. And I go, I'm still motivated by that every single day is okay. Yeah, I need to get this stuff done. Let's get on YouTube. Let's get on the school community. Let's get these projects finished. I wish I could just stop for a week and just finish it all at one time. But I'm also got a shop full of furniture that I need to, get done, make the bills, make the money. So I'm like, we're right in that juggling stage of let's just do a little bit every day, a little bit of work in the shop, a little bit of filming, a little bit of online editing or messages. And, in a month's time, 2 months' time, it'll all be done. And then now it'll really be providing, you know, value to everyone. And hopefully then I said, then we get branded like, okay, now Aaron's teaching us. And then I can help more people and I said, create a legacy in that sense now, not just in the refinishing world. Now it's more of just the teaching side is the goal.
Yeah, man, you could become the teacher like that. That's incredible, dude. I love hearing the story, and it's very interesting. You being skilled craftsmen like we are, you have something, you have a responsibility to share that, in my opinion. You
Yeah.
have to share what you have learned. It's like it's our job to make sure the younger generation has the ability to do it. To be honest, I've never even met somebody doing refinishing on the scale that you're doing. I've never even met
Yeah.
somebody here.
I'm a very small breed, and like I said, and I didn't know that. We keep going back to it, for years. I just did what I love doing. But what you were just discussing there about giving back and teaching, that wasn't the way of the world 2 decades ago.
No.
Like what happened in our industry is the guy that taught me gave me all the information. I perfected it. I finished what I got to be a better refinisher than him because that's what happens. Like all these people learning from me, they're learning from 30 years of experience from my previous boss, my
Yep.
20 years that I'm at already. You're going with like 50 years of trial and error to now you're starting at day one. You're way ahead of the curve and hopefully you become a better refinisher than me. Like
But
that's the goal.
that's the beautiful thing about working with a coach, man. You are shrinking time. Like you're gonna take.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
use the terminology tripping over my own feet. You've tripped over your own feet over the last
Uh-huh.
20 years.
Still do.
Yeah, still do, right? That means you're still getting better. But it's
Yep.
interesting because like the people that I'm teaching now, if they actually apply what I'm telling them to do, they are going to avoid tripping over their feet. And then if you can avoid tripping over your own feet time and time again,
Yep.
you're going to be miles ahead of me where I was at the age that they're at, and
100%.
that's
Yep.
that's such a cool thing to be because you learn from your boss, and it's the exact same thing. On day 10, you were on like day 40 for him, or
Okay. Well, I mean, let's go back. Like that's what we were saying is, but now the olden days, those guys never wanted to teach people. I still had secrets he didn't tell me for years because if I would have quit, let's talk back in the day of yellow pages. If I would have quit, it's not like I'm moving cities. I would still be a direct competition with that local business. They've now trained you, gave you all the information, all the stores where to purchase. Now, like I said, now with what I'm trying to do online, I want to give back and teach people all of these tricks because I don't look at any of my people. I can have a neighbor that refinishes. I wouldn't look at him as competition or her. There's a lot of girls in the refinishing world, but it's like I would never look at them as competition. I do what I do. I let them kind of follow their path and restore furniture. We could work together. And that's kind of how it is online. I go, I want to teach all of these refinishers to go up to the next level and get to find their success. I go, that's more motivating to me is that they find success, buy a house, have a family, get to that next level with, in less time. Like I said, I'll be working on 40 next year. My wife reminded me of that the other day. Like, next year's your 40th birthday. I go, what am I going to do? I'm like, thank you. I didn't realize I was going to be that old at that point, but I go, I still feel like I'm 25 at heart. I still work like I'm 25, and I go, but I want to work with a different kind of knowledge now and move it, into a
100%.
different space. Just because, like I said, it's there's so many people out there. I follow these Facebook groups just to see. It gives me good feedback of what I should post on the internet, but so many questions that are so common sense. These people have no clue how to even start with step one, and I go, how do I get seen on these types of pages? How do I get people to spread the word of mouth? And it's like it's that going on podcasts like yours, getting to know new people, post on social media, and you got to post on all of them. Like
Yeah.
I said, my Facebook for whatever reason last week gained 3,500 followers from one video. I didn't pick and choose. Like Instagram, it did all right. It didn't do a million views. I go on Facebook, it did. So I go, it doesn't just you just have to put your face on all these medias just to get out there. You need to be able to be seen. I was probably because I was overweight, like being fat. I was kind of nervous to be on camera. You go back to my videos early on, you'll only see my hands. You won't see my face because I was, embarrassed of myself. Had the heart attack, lost a bunch of weight. And then you start seeing me, okay, I got to get on camera. It probably was partly with the weight loss. Part of it was just I pushed myself to get on camera because I knew I had to. Like a customer said it the other day to me, I go, I still hate being on camera. I hate doing this part. But she goes, "You're doing it for your family." I'm like, I never even thought about it like that. Like that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing it so my kids, so I can make more money one day. I don't have to work as hard. I could be with my family, see them grow up. I don't want to work in the shop 12 hours a day and just be oh yeah, dad's always at work. Like I don't want to do that. My dad never did that for us. I go, I don't want to be that parent. So I go, it's just motivating me to step out of my comfort zone to get to that next level. And once I'm
Yeah.
there, I'm like, okay, talking to you for an hour, it's easy. Talking on the camera now on the YouTube videos, getting easier every single day. It's just repetition. It's just about starting. Like I said, I've had now 3 or 4 of those moments where I said, okay, I'm just gonna get going on it, and
Yeah.
and I do. And then once you're in, now I'm 12. I think it's a day 14 today, day 14, and it's just like coming to work now. It's easy. It's 2 weeks in, and now I'm like, okay, I kind of need to get on camera today and get filming and give some content for YouTube and Instagram.
That's amazing, man. It's not only just for the things that you're saying, but like we were talking about for your kids. Think about how cool it's gonna be for your kids, in 20 years to watch what you were doing before you were 40. You're
Yeah.
on
Oh
there,
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
refinishing. It's like remember that project dad was doing, on that one episode. Like that's the coolest thing, man.
Well, I put
That
them in there. I try to put them in like the Instagram stuff from time to time, just to see, like, so people can see them. Actually, they are getting older. The kids are real.
yeah.
It's like it's just then they love my daughter now. Like my son, he's almost 5. He's like, nah, dad, I don't want to watch you on YouTube because like he'd rather watch monster trucks or drag racing or something cool like that. But I go when it pops up and my daughter's there, she goes shop. Like she's just a little over like two, a little over 2, and I'm like, you want to go back to the shop with me? She goes, yeah. I'm like, all right. Like, and the kids, for whatever reason, I always have an apple here, and they always just go, apples? I'm like, yeah, that's all dad does all day. Sits at the shop, eats apples all freaking day. And like even watching YouTube, they joke about that. But I go, seeing them react to me on camera. I have one of my best friends out in Las Vegas. It popped up, I think, on the kids' Instagram before I was doing YouTube, and they're like, "Well, I know that voice," and like the kids are watching Uncle Aaron like just on Instagram. You're just like, okay, this is why I'm doing it, because it's so fun to see the next generation. Just they're not watching for the refinishing. They're just fun, it's fun seeing their dad or like their uncle on TV. Like, how good would it be to be like, oh yeah, dad's just a YouTuber, to tell all of his friends in school and all that, because like all these kids these days strive to be YouTubers. But I go, for one, they could do dumb videos and break things or react, whatever they do. But I go, how many of them are actually going to YouTube and give information away and knowledge? I go, that's why I go, I'm young enough that I understand this, where the old timers don't understand the power of the internet. Now it's like, it's just fun to be on that side of it now.
It's cool, man. So one of the things that I learned is like the root word in authority, right? Authority is the author. And being in the position where you're at, you are telling the story, you are sharing the information, you are the authority because you are the author of it. And it's really cool because you're the one that everyone's going to look to when they have the problems now, because you position yourself by just starting to take action and doing this.
Yeah.
And now you're like to be honest, you're the only guy that I would even ask questions about if I had to go into the refinishing area.
Yeah,
So
and that's and I love hearing that. It motivates me, kind of strokes my ego a little
yeah.
bit, but it also makes me want to do better. Like I'm a people pleaser at heart, customer wise or even like online wise. I want to give all that information to people. And I said I told my wife that actually this morning. I go, who knew the information that I've had for decades in my head was this valuable? Like coming on podcasts, talking to people online, going on like these about once a month, and you're like, why am I getting to do this? And I go, it's just I'm just a worker. Like I still feel like that at heart. I just refinished furniture, but it's like I said, it's way more. It's gone way beyond that now. It's about like I said, I've never heard that author and the authority thing, but I've heard you got to be an authority in that industry, and what you said makes perfect sense. Is putting enough information out there to like, hopefully it goes viral, more people see it. I think it just getting eyes on it. Even people are hobbyists. You don't know how many lawyers and doctors send me messages that they don't want to do what they do anymore and they want to get into woodworking. I go, well, you better get used to a pay cut unless you can figure out some thing to make, to make a lot of money. Cause they go, you're not making lawyer or doctor money from the start. You have to work up to that, either creating a small item, a product, or creating a big company. And you, like I said, become the manager of it. You run the operation and you have a team underneath you. And I said, it's just hard to find that many people in the refinishing world who want to do this full time. It's very difficult. If you see my social media, there's a lot of like, this is what the YouTube video is doing. You see how many pieces we actually have to work on to make quota, to make overhead, pay the guys, pay the rent of the building. We're not working on one piece a week, and we're not. I see so many on Instagram doing, oh, I worked on this thing for 43 hours. And I go, what'd you sell it for? $10,000. Like I can't work on a piece for 43 hours and charge you $500. Like you have to know how to operate a business and make money. I'm blessed because my father-in-law taught me that. Before I married his daughter, he taught me how to run the business. He's a small business owner as well, but he's really smart with that and helping me find out, okay, I'm totally undercharging. I'm only making $5 an hour on this project. Okay, now I got to bump it up. Okay, now it costs $30 an hour to operate the business. Like, okay, let's see. I got to add that plus employee plus making profit. How much do I got to go? Oh crap, the rent went up now. Like, the landlord raised the rent even more. Insurance went up. All these things come into consideration when you're operating your business. And I go, it's just hard to, you gotta be flexible and you have to be willing to learn, because I go, if not, you're gonna be 5 or 6 years in and then lose your business because you didn't have it set up properly. And like I said, like I saw so many people this election season it happened to, and they're closing their stores. And I go, it's good for business because the good companies who planned and prepped, they're strong, they're staying here. It weeds out all of the lower operating, people who are running really lean. It kicks them out more
Yeah,
for us. But I go, I hate seeing it. I don't want to see somebody lose their business.
of
I
course,
know how
man.
much goes into my business, and it's so much time and energy that if I lost it, I go, it would just devastate me.
100%, man. It's a planning thing, but it's a knowledge thing too. And like sometimes, like losing that could be the best lesson these people have ever learned. Like you
It
had to
is.
learn that at some point too. That like the election season, you now know you have like every 4 years, you're like ready to rock and roll.
Yep.
To be honest, there's a thing that I teach a little bit called Profit First. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not. But Profit First changed my life entirely, man. That's the reason why I've been able to buy all the buildings that I've bought now. And
So you're saying,
that's it's because you're not, you said earlier, no, it's like if it's even $20 a project, $50 a project, it's, I like percentages, because if it's 10% of a project, what that could be $1 or that could be $1,000. It
true.
depends on the percent, the size of the project. but the percentage stays the same. So if you're always taking 10%, that means you got to operate your project on 90% so that you still can operate here and you can still take that pay or the profit, which is not pay, off the top, and you can still like use that to then either put that back into learning new skills, into buying real estate, crypto, whatever you're doing. That's the stuff that I like to do, man. Anyways.
Well, and if you're not working for a reason, saving money, putting money away, if you're just working to operate, it's like then why work at all? You could go be an employee somewhere
And
and
make
get
more money.
benefits and make more money.
Yeah.
Like there were days here for so long that I'm like, where else can I just go do this somewhere else or go get a different job?
Yeah.
So it was a struggle. Like the first year or two, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing any better off than what I was doing before, and I have a lot more stress and overhead than than I even want to deal with at that time.
Yeah.
But I go, but
Having
I
heart
pushed
attacks.
through. Yeah, I pushed through. I figured out how to, to make profit in this industry and and make money. And I go, it's like I talked to a couple of refinishers, and I'm always just like, okay, how much did you charge for that? And they're just like, okay, tell me what should I have charged? I'm just like, well, we have a different overhead than you, but I go, you're worth more than that, and that's people for so long told me, Aaron, your prices are too low. I'm like, no, I'm doing okay. I'm fine. Like even customers was like, Aaron, that's too cheap. Like I'm
Yeah.
getting quotes for a lot more than that. I go, okay, like okay, how much more? Like and I would learn from them, not realizing like I was just saying this on my YouTube video today. I was actually talking about it. I go, if you want to make more money in this industry, you need to level up your product. Either be a better refinisher, build cooler pieces or more unique pieces, something that is creates value to the consumer that they're willing to pay more. It's not like I'm charging the customer absurd amount of money for a refinishing project. I'm putting more energy into that project. It costs more money for them to do it, and that's why it might be someone might be able to do a refinish in 10 hours and it takes us 17. Well, we're working on it for that 16 or 17 hours total to create a $1,600 just say refinishing cost where others are charging 1,000. It's like I'm putting more time in and they're getting a better product. We make more profit on it that way because you're working more hours, so you price it in accordingly, you make money off of that. But I go, it's more about making sure that you're taken care of and covering all your bases, profit, overhead, and then and income. Like you got to do all of it and save for a rainy day.
Yeah. Yeah. I have calculators. I have a calculator that I offer now that helps figure all that out. These are tools that I've had to build myself. So the tools that I use personally, now I'm just offering them to everybody else. Same sort of thing. It's like I built
Yep,
it
I
once.
have that on my website as well. We have a like
Yeah.
a an estimate tracker, and it's basically it's an upgraded version of what my father-in-law and I created 10 years ago. It's it's stripping, sanding, disassembly. Like you guess in like an estimate how many hours you worked on it, and then you actually follow along and write 1 hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, and by the end you want to see if it lines up, and it's a you're gonna know if you quoted properly. And that's where I started to learn. I have been screwing up for years.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I did this dining chair for $250, and it cost me, it was 4 hours of work. Well, I got to charge $100 an hour to keep overhead you running. And I go, well, I just lost $200 or $250 per chair. So you're like, okay, now I'm understanding this. And like I said, I have guides like that up. I'm making more of them with just like I said, trying to put any type of information out there. And if there's something you guys want as listeners from me or from Michael, just send us messages and I go, I don't know what to create because it's just in my head. But if you need something,
Yeah.
tell me. Like I would be more than willing to sit down on a computer and figure out that information. Either make a template, like I said, I've created checklists like on tools, materials, stuff from Mohawk, some from stuff you could buy from Amazon or other stores like Rockler or Ganal Lumber, like just places like that out here. And that way, I'm trying to give you all the information that I have and stuff that my old boss would have never given up to just anyone walking down the street. People will ask me about how do I refinish this piece of furniture, and I can tell them every single step, and it doesn't mean that it's going to turn out the same way that my piece turns out. So it's like I
Absolutely
don't
not.
mind giving you the information. You could read my book. your piece may look slightly different than mine, and that's great. But at least you will follow the techniques and learned to do better on your refinishes. Along with everything else we've talked about on here today.
Right. Yeah, man. With that, let's tell the people where they can find your book, where to find you on school. Like, let's talk about that real quick before we wrap up the podcast here.
Yeah, so basically you can find me. My main Instagram is Moore's Refinishing. That it's Moore's underscore refinishing is the Instagram. That's where I do a lot of the short form. Right now we have one of 3 channels on YouTube open. We're going to start putting other content on and try to grow multiple channels, different kind of content on each. The main one right now is Revive and Refine above the grain. That's like a daily vlog. That's my YouTube channel. Reviveandrefine.com is where you find the book. If you use the code free shipping USA, anyone in the United States could get the free shipping. If you're out of the country, it'll give you $15 off of shipping. So just wanted to put that out here for your people and just give a little bit of kickback, so that way people who are listening, who have made it this far in the podcast, can get a little discount on the refinishing guide.
That's awesome, man. I'm gonna have to get that book. I haven't thought about it. I mean, I got a whole stack of books I got to get to right now, but that sounds
I understand.
like I would love to learn a little bit more about how you do the refinishing through that. I gotta check out some of your YouTube, man, because I've been a big fan of the Instagram for a long time now. So I hope you guys.
Hey,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope you guys go follow Aaron, man. The content is so good. He's a great teacher. Check out his school group. Check out his guide, and learn how to do some better refinishing.
yeah, that's the goal for all of you. I said, I hope if you have any questions, send me messages. I sometimes I try to respond to everybody. Sometimes it might take me a week or so to get to messages. I might lose them in the lineup. I'll go back and do unread messages, and I just responded to people back from the end of December. I missed them. I responded. I said I respond to everybody personally. When you talk to me online, it's me personally. There's nobody else running my operation. It's I want to be a part of it. I want to be the guy that helps you out, not just AI or anything like that.
Yeah, that gets weird. I don't want to talk to
Very,
robots
very.
either, man. Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Let's wrap this up today. Aaron, thanks so much for coming on the Maker's Legacy podcast. I hope we can continue our relationship in the future. And I know we're going to continue talking, man. So you have a great night.
You too, Michael. I'll see you soon. Thanks.
See you, buddy.
Bye bye.